Hey everyone, welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling, episode 15 with myself, Denise Salcedo. It is the first show of 2021, the January 6th edition, and I am so happy to be here chatting with you guys about wrestling once again. I mean, it's been a wild day overall, entirely. So to be able to come on here and talk about two really good pro wrestling shows that we saw here today, I can't wait to jump into all of that. But first of all, I want to thank each and every single one of you guys for tuning in, whether you're watching on a replay, whether you're watching this live. I appreciate you guys so much for coming in here. And I hope that today we kind of have a good time talking about all of the awesome things that happened both on AEW and NXT, because both shows delivered today to guys. Delivered. Also, for those of you who are new here, I just want to remind you all that this show is very interactive. So as we break down each and every single thing that happened on the shows, the major highlights, major moments, make sure to take part in the chat. Share your thoughts because I will be reading your comments. And if there's something that you want me to read and you're like, Denise, I need you to read this, make sure to send in a super chat. Plus, super chats are very much appreciated on this show since F4W Online does let me keep 100% of the super chat proceeds right after YouTube takes their cut. So make sure you guys go ahead and send in some super chats. They really help me out. But hey, also for those of you who are watching in the video format, I hope you guys can see my New Japan flag. No lie, I have been needing to put up this flag since day one of this show, and I kept forgetting to put it up on this part of the wall, but finally I gave up and I'm going to put it over here, and I think it looks pretty awesome. And considering that we just had Wrestle Kingdom, I think this was probably the best time to finally get my flag up here. So we did it. It's here. But what did you guys all think about AEW today, about NXT? We will be kicking off the show talking about AEW, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up with NXT. But in the meantime, I'm going to see what you guys are all saying here. Let's start off with the D-Train Riot Maker, who says, two great main events, two different styles. This is how wrestling should be. Thanks. Thank the wrestling gods. You know, I'm very happy that you mentioned the two different wrestling styles because, boy, did we get some really good main events. On the AEW side, we had Phoenix and Kenny Omega that they had what I like to call a Denise match. By that, I mean I loved each and every single thing that they did in this match. And I popped for this match so many times throughout it. And I thought it was great. And then afterwards, I got to watch Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and I already knew that this match was going to be good. And I think that it completely delivered, and it was so different from what I had seen with the Kenny Omega Phoenix match, and I still got very excited for this match. I mean, they kept so much momentum going for it, and we'll get into it more, but I do want to go ahead and say that I appreciate the fact that we got two very different main events that were both worthy of some respect. The Peyton Show says AEW is too sweet. That is definitely going to be something that you're going to be hearing about throughout this entire show, that AEW was, in fact, too sweet. Christian Ramos says, tonight's wrestling was awesome. The fans won this week for sure. This is my favorite night, guys. My favorite night, first of all, is Wednesdays because I get to come on here and talk to all of you. But secondly, I especially like it when both shows deliver. Nothing is worse than having a show that isn't as strong as the other show. So the fact that both of them delivered tonight, I think that was I almost felt like I finished watching a pay-per-view. Do you guys get me? Like that feeling that you get after you watch a pay-per-view? That's how I felt today because we got a lot of great stuff from AEW and NXT that it felt like I had just finished watching some sort of big pay-per-view, which makes sense because obviously they were both promoting their New Year shows. Jake Larson says, needed good wrestling after today, and they both delivered. I think we all needed some wrestling today, honestly. Anton H says, I already miss wrestling, and it's been an hour. Well, good news, Anton. We're going to talk about everything that we saw here today. Morningstar says, I totally marked out for Bullet Club. I gotta say, I didn't see the AEW, the way that AEW Dynamite ended tonight. I didn't expect for everything that went down to go down. And I was so into what was happening in that ring. And I am just excited that people are excited about it as well. Tanil says, Love and hate nights like this. Too hard to watch both shows, and I don't watch both at the same time like Denise does. To know you're so lucky. I do. Okay, so I said that I love watching shows that are both really good, but I 100% get what you mean by not liking when both of these shows are good, because when I'm watching them at the same time, it is very hard. I have to do a lot of pause, a lot of play, and I also use that extra hour to go back and rewatch stuff. Today, when Raquel and Rhea Ripley were having their last woman standing match, I completely missed the Cody Rhodes match and had to watch that afterwards. When I watched the Kenny Omega Phoenix match, after I was done with that match, I had to go back and watch the Kyle O'Reilly Finn Balor match. So I am watching stuff, out of order, kind of out of order, but it is very hard to watch two shows at the exact same time. It does kind of help, and maybe one isn't putting on the best stuff. You could just be like, I don't care for this, moving on. But no, it really was good stuff on both ends. Anthony E says, yo, Denise, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody, guys. This is our first show of the year, so I am very happy that we are starting it off with some really good wrestling. We have to read this comment, too, from Anthony E., who says, Bullet Club reunion and the debut of the Snoop Splash. Jesus, that Snoop Splash was the highlight of that Cody Rhodes match and everything that happened. More importantly, because the Snoop Splash, it kind of looked like he was going for a frog splash. It was just so interesting, like what happened, and I almost feel like he changed his mind mid-air. It was hilarious. It was awesome, and I'm happy that Snoop Dogg had the courage to go out there and do that. Seriously. All right, we have a comment from Trey for Ramava, who says, AEW has so many tag teams to lend to Impact. Dude, the Impact AEW thing, and, obviously we saw the good end of it here today. I think they definitely have a lot of talent that they can lend over to the Impact side, just so that they can keep coming out on TV, keep getting TV time, especially those that aren't. I think it would be a good thing to, share, I guess you can say share them with Impact. Ralph Size Gimundo says, I expected the Good Brothers to appear because the main event had ended a bit early. Ralph, so when the main event ended, there was still, I believe, maybe 5 minutes or so left. And first, I was so mad. When Kenny Omega Phoenix ended, I was so mad because I was really enjoying that match. But when I saw how much time was left, I was like, okay, something has to happen. I don't know what, but I'm expecting something to go down because obviously we still have a couple of minutes, going on. Joseph Boza says, I feel for podcasters in a good way when there are weeks like this. Will be interesting to see the viewership for both shows when they come out. AEW had 977K viewers last week. NXT had 598K viewers last week. Yeah, you know what though? I don't feel too bad like being a podcaster and talking about wrestling, because when it's good, I don't have to come out here and sound bored. Sean, thank you so much for the lovely comment. Glad you like this energy that you're getting on this show. Thank you. And Shadow Crypt had a correction for me, says there was 8 minutes left on the show. Yeah, well, I do pause and play, so sometimes my time is a little bit off, but I definitely knew that we had a couple of minutes left on the show. So guys, let's go ahead and kick it off. Let's talk about AEW New Year Smash, and then we'll move into NXT, but we'll kick it off with AEW. As a reminder, if any of you guys want to go ahead and send in a super chat, you are more than welcome to send one in. But let's kick it off with the opening match of the night, which was the Young Bucks, Colt Cabana, and Christopher Daniels versus the Acclaimed and TH2, which is the team of Jack Evans and Angelico. And before I talk about how awesome that opener was, Patel Ron, Jesus, Patel Ron, thank you so much for this super chat. You are so kind. Patel Ron, thank you very much for sending in this super chat. Seriously, I very much appreciate it. And you're kicking my first super chat of the 2021 year, and I think it was a really good one. So thank you so much. Shout out to Patel Ron for this very nice super chat. So the opening match, guys, on AEW. Lots to say. First of all, I thought it was a great opener. I thought it was really fun, a really fun match. However, I'm not that big on 8-man tags. I really am not, because I preferred, I thought that the highlights of this match were really the Young Bucks and TH2. I thought they were the ones that really brought the action to this match. So selfishly, I would have preferred to see them go at it, just TH2, Young Bucks, because I knew that was going to, they were really the ones that were, just bringing all the entertainment to this match. However, I also would have liked to see more of the Acclaims. I felt like we didn't get enough of them as well during this match, but I do think that it was a fun match for what it was. It just, when there is too many guys, it starts to become a cluster, and I don't necessarily think that everybody got a chance to shine. I liked the finish. I love what Christopher Daniels had to bring to this. As I'm always a big fan of Christopher Daniels, but I don't necessarily think that him, Cabana, or the Acclaimed necessarily got an opportunity to really stand out here, because TH2 and the Young Bucks really stole the limelight on this one. But I do really think that this was an awesome match. And my favorite part of this, and it kind of tripped me out, and I don't know if it tripped you guys out too, but it tripped me out. So there was a spot where Matt Jackson went to the top rope, and he's kind of like in the corner of my screen. And even Jericho said that he thought he was going to do a moonsault because the camera wasn't showing anything that was in front of Matt Jackson. And then all of a sudden, Matt Jackson completely swerves us and ends up leaping forward. And it tripped me out so much. It kind of felt like Matt Jackson came out of my television screen. It felt like some 3D action, man. But seriously, though, a fun opener overall. And that was honestly my favorite part of the match, was really just how it tripped me out on that camera work. Let's see what you guys are all saying here. Okay, we have a comment from Hager who says, I loved how the show ended. So good. Ha ha. Dude, it really did. Shadow Crypt says, what was with the fan that yelled Moxley is trash during the Moxley promo? Dude, I didn't notice it. I don't know why. I didn't notice it. I know I saw a couple of people talking about it, but I didn't notice it. So maybe I just have really bad hearing, but I really didn't notice it at all. Tanil says, I'm glad they're setting up the SCU Young Bucks future title match, maybe at Revolution. Dude, anything SoCal Uncensored, I'm here for it. Raymond France says, both shows brought it, but AEW knocked it out of the park. You know what? I think they both had, I can't necessarily say that this week, Raymond, because that Rhea Ripley Raquel match was one of the best things that I have seen. And also because they had Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, I don't necessarily think that I can completely say that AEW completely outshined NXT this week. I cannot say that this week, okay? I really cannot. Moving on. So after this, we had Jon Moxley coming out, which we were just talking about. And I got to say, I was a fan of this promo. So Jon Moxley comes out to address his title loss to Kenny Omega. He comes out and he says he has a zero tolerance policy for shitty people, which BTW, I really thought was such a funny line. Very on point for today to say you have zero tolerance for shitty people. But I loved this promo. I loved how Jon Moxley came out and he was just super, super pissed. And I feel that because we haven't seen Jon Moxley for maybe a couple of weeks now, I felt that it added more. It made him feel like a bigger deal. I like the fact that, we haven't seen him. So he's finally back. He's pissed. He's angry. He's ready to, he's coming for Kenny Omega. I really, really felt that he felt like a big deal this week. And good promo overall by Jon Moxley. The Peyton Show says, I want Marco versus -1. I seriously loved that whole segment that they did on AEW Dark. It was so freaking cute, man. So cute. -1 has all of our hearts, that's for sure. And Peyton Show says, Moxley is looking for blood. Razor Gem says, Denise, what company would you like Jay White to join? Dude, I don't know. I can't answer that. I think Jay White is on a level of his own. He is on a level of his own, and I'm a really big Jay White fan. So I'll just leave that at that. Shadow Crypt says, Denise, go back and rewatch that Moxley promo and listen to the fans in the crowd. It's completely destroyed this promo for you, unfortunately. I don't think so. I think the fact that, it didn't ruin it for me. I very much enjoyed the Jon Moxley promo. And I feel like at the same time, like you're a fan. If you're like a fan in the crowd, you can boo, you can cheer, you can do whatever you want. So I feel like, yeah, do whatever you want. Gus Lima says Phoenix versus Kenny was just insane. Kenny doesn't go to the Tokyo Dome. The Dome comes to Kenny. That's actually a pretty funny comment, Gus. And all right, I'm going through the rest of your guys' comments here. Reminder, as we go through each and every single thing, feel free to send in your comment if you want it read on the screen. I will try to get to a bunch of you guys here today. This is a very interactive stream, and I love to hear your thoughts as we go through this. Also, friendly reminder, do not forget to subscribe to F4W online. If you haven't already subscribed, come to the family. Get yourself in here, get yourself subscribed. All right, and moving on, so I gotta say, I'm officially joining the Wardlow bandwagon. I think probably some of my early shows, I wasn't necessarily all that crazy about Wardlow. You guys know that. I said it. I take it back. Forgive me, people. Forgive me, people of the internet. I take it back. I am a Wardlow fan. Accept me now. Please accept me. I really enjoyed this match with Jake Hager. I thought he completely outshined Jake Hager while we're at it. I love the fact that they incorporated a lot of different things into this match. They started off this match where just two big buff guys, kind of going at it. And at first I wasn't feeling it. My initial thoughts were, after watching Shingo versus Jeff Cobb, you need to step it up for me if you're going to do that. Okay. So my bar is set a little bit higher, but then afterwards they kind of just took it to a bunch of different places. And we saw Wardlow, do a lot of, impressive things in this match. I mean, he was doing, cause at the same time they were having, Santos Escobar match on, and, the Santos Escobar match and Grand Metalik on NXT. And how was it that we were seeing more high-flying action over from Wardlow than we were from that match, which was kind of interesting. But I did really like what he brought to this match. I thought he brought a lot of power. He brought a lot of agility. And I'm really, really jumping on that bandwagon, guys. Really jumping on that bandwagon there. There was a lot of good moments in this match, and I'm really happy that Wardlow got the win. I think he really needed that win, and I think all eyes are on Wardlow. But I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in here on this Wardlow situation. So okay, I'm gonna try to get through all of your guys' things here. But first, we have a question from Anthony E. Says, Denise, are you wearing a blazer? Yes, I am wearing a blazer. I wanted to look, businessy, professional. Mike M says Kota Ibushi versus Kenny Omega, please. And Trey for Ramva says Wardlow needs a new finisher. LOL. Morningstar says I'm so glad Wardlow won. I really am too. Nicholas Jackus says Moxley return was perfect. Ending is just the beginning of his road to getting his title back as it becomes him versus Impact. I did like the Moxley return. I thought it was very well done. And, we'll talk about the ending of AEW afterwards, but it all connected really nicely. Kevin Yu says, join the Wardlow bandwagon. He is so athletic and was the star of the match. I really enjoyed the Hager add Wardlow match. I wasn't looking forward to this match, I'll be honest. And I ended up enjoying it. Danny Flair says, I'm fashionably late. I'm so glad you review NXT and AEW too. Danny Flair, better late than ever. I appreciate you coming on here. Christian Ramos says, Wardlow and I are about the same size. I can't do half the things he could do. It is flexible. I always laugh when you find out when someone's your exact same height or weight, and you're like, wait, I don't look the same though. Something's not connecting here. We have a super chat from G.O. Thank you so much for sending in a super chat. Gio says, I have a theory that WWE can't build stars because they're never put in a situation where they have the leverage, and without leverage, you can never be a star. Thoughts? Well, I think that part of the problem is that they're focusing too much on one guy all the time. Like, you always know who the one guy is who's getting the focus. And so while this one guy is, building himself up, you have a bunch of other people with so much potential that aren't necessarily getting the spotlight on them. And I do think that they need to build more stars at the exact same time so that afterwards, you start getting somebody that is so big and they don't have any challengers, like that's not going to help them. Like, if you guys remember when Drew McIntyre started his run as champion, he was facing Dolph Ziggler, which nobody really cared about. And why? Because there wasn't anybody else to work with him there, because there wasn't any other stars to work with him there. That's one example. Another example is Asuka as women's champion. She didn't have anybody that was, necessarily built up to, work with as, to help her grow as a champion. There was nobody there. Everybody else was just like, okay, they're not going to win. There's no hope. There was never any hope for somebody else to become champion, or that you would think that they were going to become champion. So I just think that they need to build more stars simultaneously, not just focus on one person, one guy, but build more people up at the exact same time. And so GO, that is necessary. That's probably my best opinion on that right now. But we can go into that like at another time, because there is just so many different things that you can touch on there. R. Riggs says, I thought Wardlow has really gotten more impressive. I agree with you, R. Riggs. Like I said, I wasn't necessarily the biggest Wardlow fan at the start of this whole journey. And look at me now. I'm begging to be part of the fandom here. And here we go, moving on here. Gianmarco Credi says, Omega and Phoenix had an instant classic tonight. Hell to the yeah. Gio says Wardlow's hair is legit. Yeah, it kind of had like a really nice wave going to it. I really, really do think so. And Trey for Rumva says AEW does need one more huge babyface. I would say that the huge babyface is obviously Jon Moxley. I would say that the second one, and obviously they still have to do a little bit more work there, but it should definitely be Hangman Page. Like, I will push and talk about how great Hangman Page is on every freaking stream that I am on. Pardon my language, but I really do think that he should be continued to be built up as a big baby face, because they really got something there with him. Really got something there with him. And Shadow Crip says, Wardlow needed the win. This is his way to be pushed hard. He did need the win. Yeah, I think for a while, you all had, everybody was like, okay, we like Wardlow, whatever, right? But there wasn't, he needed this win to really further that. All righty, moving on. Oh, by the way, we also had a funny pep talk that MJF gave to Hager afterwards. This was later on. I thought that was kind of funny, where he was like trying to pep him up after he lost his match. And then we also saw the Darby Allin Brian Cage weigh in for next week's title match. Now, before I get into this, I do want to kind of get your thoughts on, how do you guys feel about weigh-ins in wrestling? Are you a fan of weigh-ins in wrestling, or are you not a fan of weigh-ins in wrestling? Because I'll start off by saying that I could care less about the weigh-ins. They don't really do anything for me whatsoever. They kind of feel pointless, but I am open to hearing what you guys have to say. And while you guys get those thoughts in, I do want to go ahead and read a super chat from Christian Ramos. Christian, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, thoughts on the new TNT belt? Love the red accent. For a second, first of all, Christian, thank you so much for reminding me to talk about the TNT belt, because I almost completely forgot to talk about it because I didn't write it down on my notes. But I think that it looks a lot better than the last one, that's for sure. I love the dark because it really contrasts the actual plates. So I do enjoy this belt. I think it's nice for what it is, and it is a lot better than the previous one. So Christian, thank you so much for sending in this super chat. And Tanol has a comment, says, Hangman is the other huge baby face, or will be when AEW gives him a full push. Exactly, Tanol. That's exactly what I was saying. And Morningstar also says, oh shit, you're right. How can I forget about Hangman? Yeah, Hangman's that guy that you're like, okay, he's there, but let's push them past that precipice. Let's get them to that new point there. Seriously. All right, guys, here we go. We got some people talking about how they feel about this weigh-in now. Morningstar says, no weigh-in. Shadow Crip says, I've never been a fan of the weigh-ins. Ralph says, not a fan. And the Peyton Show says they don't need to do it. It's not UFC or boxing. Gio says, I'm not a fan. And in regards to the TNT bout, Trey for Ramva says, TNT bout is lit. And Gio says, I like contract signings. You know what? There have been some decent contract signings, but I think contract signings really depend on what they book around that segment. Because if it's the predictable throw the table over sort of thing, I'm kind of over that. I like creative contract signings. And Terrell also says, Denise, the weigh-ins are pointless. And Phantasma says, I think it should be for world title pay-per-view events, adds more hype for me. Okay. LW says either have them all the time or not have them at all. Be consistent. Very good point, LW. I completely agree with you on that one as well. So I do think that I did think that the weigh-ins were pointless. I couldn't care for it, but I did like all the promo work that went into this. I thought that Taz, I mean, guys, every single week has been coming out and been saying some legit stuff that you're like, yeah, I like this. I like what he's doing here. So I liked what he did out here. I also thought that Darby Allin had a good comeback. We rarely get to hear Darby Allin talk, so I'm really glad that we got that moment here tonight. And once they were confronting each other, we did have the lights go down, the snow come out, and Sting comes out, and this ends up essentially ending this melee here. Instead of, Taz and his guys facing off with Darby, once Sting came out, that was sort of all over. Were you guys a fan of this whole thing? Because I personally thought that this segment was weak. I thought they could have done a lot more. While the promos were fine, I didn't think there was anything about this segment that felt special to me. It didn't really feel like, I was already excited for the Darby Allin Brian Cage match, and I still have that same level of excitement, but this segment didn't make me more excited, or it didn't make me less excited either. So this segment kind of just went and left for me. iChurch Pastor Blaster, guys, you guys are being so nice to me. I can't handle it. iChurch Pastor Blaster sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. Says, Happy New Year's, Denise. God bless you. Seriously though, God bless you for sending in the super chat. Really, really means a lot to me. For those of you guys who do not know, F4W does let me keep 100% of the super chats that you guys send in. And I mean, after YouTube takes their cut that they take, I get to keep it afterwards, and it's really nice. My paycheck looks nice, so that's always really good. So thank you guys so much for sending those in, seriously. And Kevin Yu says, I really enjoy Taz. When he speaks on the mic, he means business. Yeah, okay. I need to touch on something too. So first of all, yes, when Taz comes out and he talks on the mic, he does mean business. But secondly, Anthony E says, FYI, Taz said wide ass and not white ass to Tony Schiavone. Anthony, I thought he said white ass. Honestly, I wasn't sure what he said, but to me, it did sound like white ass. And I was like, what is happening here? I'm not really sure, what the rules are. I don't know if that's I don't know, guys, but thank you so much for pointing it out that he said white ass, because I really did think he said white ass. Either way, I laughed. Wrestling Fandom says, the thing that makes me more mad is Sting showing up every week and not doing anything. This is the 6th week in a row. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and that this is something that Sting is known for doing, and it seems like they're continuing that with Sting. But I think that the fans, one of the things that people like about AEW Dynamite is that they always surprise you and they do something different, right? They like to put a lot of different stuff, incorporate a lot of different elements to their show. So the fact that now it's starting to become more predictable whenever you have any of the Sting involvement, I do do see a lot of the backlash from fans that are starting to lose interest. And I know for me that once the lights went down and this, Sting was going to come out, I did my head glanced over to the next screen to see what was happening on NXT. Because, okay, I already knew what was going to happen with, when Sting came out. I knew that they weren't, going to do anything. So my head did shift the other direction. So I don't know when they're going to start switching things up or maybe adding something a little bit more. But again, this is something that Sting has been known to do and, has gotten over. It's Sting. But there you go. And Jake Larson, thank you. He says in WCW, Sting would do this for weeks too, but he would at least swing the bat to clear the ring. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think that some of the fans accept it because this is what, Sting has done in the past. But then again, some of the fans are, they're over it. They need something new, something to keep them interested. So, there you go. That's what we're going on there. Our Dreamer says, I love the fact that Taz is now an even grumpier version of his character from ECW. Just when you thought he couldn't get more mean, more grumpy, there you go. We have it. And apparently a bunch of other people thought that Taz also said white. Seriously. D-Train says he feels that it's stale. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I would think so. Maybe add a little something extra, right? And then after this, we had the Matt Sydal Cody Rhodes match, which Cody Rhodes came out with Snoop Dogg. And this is the match that I missed completely because I was watching Rhea Ripley versus Raquel, which was bloody fantastic. But I did go back and watch this match after AEW, and I thought that it was a fine match. It was there. It was fine. I didn't pop for anything, but it was fine. Wasn't boring. But really, though, the highlight, though, was Snoop Dogg not knowing what to do towards the end of the match. And he's just standing there, not knowing what's happening. And then he ends up doing the Snoop splash. That was hilarious. And we talked about that earlier today, but I just kind of felt like he got up there and I feel like he had something in mind of what he wanted to do. And then he switched his opinion mid-air because you can kind of see that hesitation with his body movement. But it was pretty darn hilarious. And I really respect the hell out of Snoop Dogg for doing that because Lord knows that a lot of us would not go anywhere near that top rope to do anything like that. Because even though, we watch wrestling all the time and it may seem easy because, these people come out here and they do it and they do all these crazy things and it looks easy. It's not. It really is not. So credit to Snoop Dogg for putting himself out there. I also thought this was really good promotion for the Go Big show. I think that's what it's called, the TNT show that Cody Rhodes is going to be on with Snoop Dogg. I liked the fact that they really made this seem like a big deal. I will have to say they have been doing a really great job of promoting that show with the, doing the ring apron with the branding of the show, doing the barricades with the branding of the show, and just really, incorporating this into the actual storyline. I thought was really, really cool. And we have a lot of comments about Snoop. Trey from Raw says Snoop was high. Oh, he was high. Terrell says, I did not like this move at all. Snoop and Cody. I was going to say in Cordy's. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Snoop in Cody's corner. Wow, Cody's corner is kind of a tongue twister. Why is that? Okay. Tanos Jago says, Snoop Dogg looked so happy afterwards. Yeah, you can tell he felt pumped afterwards because even afterwards, he went to all of the announcers, was, high-fiving them. The guy was pumped. I'm sure he was. And Tanos says, Snoop looked so happy after the top rope splash and after shaking the commentator's hands. I'm going to guess AEW will get a lot of mainstream publicity for that spot. You would think so. Yeah, you would think so. I haven't checked up and see if anybody has written about it yet, but I'm sure they will. Morningstar says Snoop was high and took the risk. LOL. Gio says he got all mad and was like, pull him closer. I was cracking up. I was laughing too when he was telling Cody to move him closer. I did think that was pretty hilarious. And we have a comment from Chris Cage 2X that says, love the Snoop Doggy Dogg remix of Cody Rhodes theme. Oh, I didn't notice. Oof, is that bad? I didn't even notice. All right, Labor Day says, I'm over the Cody Rhodes match too. They all play out the same way and typically are overdone with gimmicks or outside interference. Yawn. I've heard a lot of critique about Cody Rhodes, from friends that are, wrestling fans too. And I have heard this critique for Cody Rhodes several times. So I can't fault you for thinking that because a lot of people think the same thing. But I'm a fan of Cody Rhodes. But it depends who he's in the ring with too. For me, it depends. Like, I loved his match with Kenny Omega at it was their Ring of Honor show, WrestleMania weekend, I believe. New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans weekend. I liked that show. Was it that show? Yeah, it was that show. I'm pretty sure it was that show. And I really enjoyed their match there. And so, but I don't think I enjoyed the one at the Cow Palace as much as the one that I liked at New Orleans. And alrighty, I'm going through the rest of your comments here. The Keys Boost says, I like Jericho trashing Snoop, then being friendly when Snoop came over to hug him, then trashing him again after he left the booth. My favorite line from Jericho tonight was when he said that Snoop Dogg didn't have a wrestling license. I actually laughed really loud at that part. And Shadow Crypt says, I'm over all Cody matches. It's the same story. Someone hurts their knee or ankle and Cody takes advantage. There you go. I knew for a fact there was somebody out there that was going to agree with this criticism of Cody matches. And lo and behold, 2 seconds later, we got it. Tanil says, Sports Illustrated tweeted about Snoop's spot right after it happened. Dude, mainstream. I love whenever, there's that crossover between mainstream media and pro wrestling. I know a lot of people aren't really big fans of that, but I am because I'm like a fan of, pop culture and all of that type of stuff. So I really like when we have that, crossover. I loved the Cardi B crossover with WWE from Raw Legends Night. I thought that was great publicity for them because Cardi B is a pretty big deal, guys. Like in music world, she's a big deal. And so I thought that was a fun little interaction between her and Trish Stratus, her and Sasha Banks, her and Melina. It was really nice to see that interaction on social media. So I'm always here for that type of stuff. All righty. We did have a match between Abaddon and Hikaru Shida, with Shida winning. I didn't really care for this match. It was okay. It was fine. But I was on such a high from the Rhea Ripley Raquel match that this one for me just obviously wasn't there yet, and that's not their fault, but I was just on a different high at that point, guys. So I think that seeing that match took me out of that match with the Abaddon Hikaru Shida match. But there you go. And lastly, let's get into the ending of AEW. And here what we have is Kenny Omega versus Fenix, which, by the way, I already knew that it was going to be good. You already knew that it was going to be good. Everybody knew that it was going to be good. This was a very fast-paced match with lots of cool spots. And my favorite thing about this match, and pretty much my favorite thing whenever I see Kenny Omega and Fenix wrestle, is that I liked the way that they transition from move to move. It's very creative, very different. You never know what the heck these guys are going to do. And even though that they're very, they're very agile and that they can do all of these crazy things, even when they do them, it still blows my mind. I love the way that they countered one another's moves. That was really good. The second that they went for a pinfall, I was like, no. Do not let this match end. Do not even think about it, because I was really enjoying this match so much. Selfishly, I could have seen them go for like an extra hour, although we knew it wasn't going to happen. I still just didn't want this match to end. It got to the point where I was looking at my clock to see how much time we had left so that I can enjoy this match. And I don't do that very often. But when a match is good, I like to know that I'm still have a couple of minutes to get into it, because nothing is worse than watching a really good match and then all of a sudden it just ends. But this one, I loved it. We got to see a nice, tribute to Eddie Guerrero from Fenix when he did the frog splash, and then got the knees from Omega. Kenny hit a Tiger Driver and then a V-trigger, and I really thought that it was over after that. But then Kenny hit him with the one-winged angel, and Kenny won. However, it was kind of weird because after he got the pin, I think it was like right after the 3 count, Fenix did put his shoulder up where I was kind of confused. I was like, whoa, what's happening here? So that did throw me off a little bit. But what everybody is talking about is really the post-match action that came out of this match, because boy, was it a hot one. It was probably one of my favorite endings to AEW Dynamite, period. And I'm so happy that when I went on Twitter to read what everybody was saying, it seemed that everybody was sort of on the same point. So just really quickly before I get to all of your thoughts here, afterwards after the match, Jon Moxley came out, getting his heat back and all of that. But then afterwards, he comes out with the barbed wire bat, and then so they're going in there doing their thing, but then all of a sudden Gallows and Anderson come out and attack Jon Moxley. Kenny hits Moxley with a barbed wire bat on the back. Gallows and Anderson, I mean, they looked fantastic, guys. Like, they came in here, they felt like a big deal, and they do have a lot of credibility, so this was really cool to see them come out. Then you started seeing some of the AEW guys come out, but they all get taken out by Gallows and Anderson, so that was really cool. And then afterwards, you see the Young Bucks come out, and at first you're not really sure where the Young Bucks are going to land in all of this, but they do end up, banning them, forming themselves with the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega, and then you end on the Too Sweet sign. So it was a really interesting, fun ending for AEW, and I really like this, and I do think that this angle is going to work, especially with the Bucks as heels, again, because we did already talk about the fact that we already have a very strong babyface in Jon Moxley, although we do need another stronger babyface with Hangman Page, but still, good stuff. What did you guys think of this entire segment? I know a lot went down, and I covered really just the highlights of it, but how did you guys all feel about this? All righty. So, all right, we have so many comments on this. All right, where do I start, guys? Where do I start? And okay, we're going to start off with Christian Ramos. Congratulations, Christian Ramos. He says Rey Fenix and Kenny Omega wore matching fire gear because it was indeed fire. And Shadow Crib says, for the record, everyone, this is not the Bullet Club. This is the true elite of the Bullet Club. And later, Labor Day says that counter into the Tiger Driver was sick. Yeah, I completely agree. Gio says, even the end with Fenix popped his hand up to try to get the shoulder up, magical. Yeah, it was kind of like, I liked it because it was almost like you weren't sure what was supposed to happen, where you were kind of thinking like, man, like he was so out of it, but he was still trying to win, that he didn't get it up right on time. So it did make you think about it. And even like the referees were kind of, looking a little confused. Commentators, made a mention to it. So that was really interesting. Tanol says, I think AEW made a major mistake by promoting the Elite wrestling next week prior to the main event. That being said, that was a hell of a main event. Great match and phenomenal, pun intended, angle. Shadow Crib says, 8 minutes left and the true Elite happened. This is Elite that was supposed to be in AEW from the start. R. Riggs says, it was really good, but their AAA title match was better. Dude, they have such good chemistry. Like, they really do. Like, we now have certain expectations of Kenny Omega and Fenix, that's for sure. Tanol says the timing of Omega getting his knees up on the frog splash was picture perfect. Yeah, I wasn't even expecting him to get his knees up there. Zane Miller says they topped what I thought was going to be unbelievable. And Morningstar says Bullet Club is for life, ... except AJ Styles. Why is something says the Too Sweet chants were great. It was a very nice visual to end that show with, just the close-up of the hands. It looked phenomenal. Ryan Hoover says, take a freaking breath, woman. First of all, Ryan Hoover, I breathe on my own damn time. When I want to breathe, I breathe. When I want to take a breath, I take a breath. But Ryan, I have an hour to talk about 2 shows. There's no time to take a break. Moving on. Forsaken Production says, if Laredo kicked out of the Super One-Winged Angel at 3.1, then Rey Fenix wasn't going to sell beyond 3.1 for the normal One-Winged Angel. And where are we at here? Sorry, guys. There's so many comments on here. I'm trying to get as many as I can possibly get. And we have one from I Loved E5 who says the barbed wire bat spot was so funny. Yeah, dude, Kenny Omega just went for it and was just banging that on Jon Moxley's back. Shadow Crip says the jobbers all came out. Lance Archer was still in the crowd. Oh man. And all right, I'm going through the rest of your comments. Here we go. This is from the Keys Boo, who says, Gallows and Anderson looked more badass in 5 minutes on AEW TV than they did for half of their WWE run. Shots fired, the Keys Boo. Shots fired. But no, in all seriousness, they really did. I mean, they came in here looking ripped, looking shredded, looking like badasses. Let's just say let's just say you're a new AEW viewer. You've never seen AEW. You're just watching for the first time. Heck, maybe you don't even watch wrestling. You're just a casual viewer. And you see the Good Brothers coming out, and they essentially like looked the way that they did and they acted the way they did. I would start thinking, like, who are these guys? I want to get to know who these guys are. So I do have to say that they did a really great job, honestly. Really good job there. And Kevin Yu says, I really didn't get the Good Brothers showing up. I popped so hard when the Young Bucks join and reunite the Bullet Club. What does this mean for Impact's Hard to Kill? Will the Bucks be there? We will find out. We will find out. We have a comment from Alvaro Sebastian. Says, Hola, Denise. Un peruano viviendo en Paris. Keep doing great work. Join it every week. Dude, you're living in Paris, man. Jealous. Super jealous. Gio says, it was incredible. Phoenix was so emotional, and it's the first time I really connected with him on that level. M. Daup says, both shows ended with Bullet Club on top. It was too sweet. That is kind of true. And I Loved E5 says, the Good Brothers have great presence. And we have so many comments about this. I'm trying to get to as many people as I possibly can. We have one from Raymond Frand who says, whoop, whoop. Chris Cage says, a little bit NWO vibes from the 90s. A lot, yeah. The Young Bucks heel turn was a blink and you'll miss it moment. If Cody turns, then everything will come full circle. Raymond Frand also says, damn, that Phoenix Omega match was mind-blowing. And I'm going to read the rest of your comments here as I'm going through. I try to skim your guys' comments for a second, just making sure. Forsaken Production says, almost 45 minutes in, Denise it still isn't great at getting this under an hour. Well, technically, yeah, I'm not that great at getting it under an hour. You're right, Forsaken Productions. I don't even have an answer for you. You're definitely right on that one. But I really do like to read all of your guys' comments and see what you guys are saying here. And we have, okay, there we go. Shadow Crip says, Denise, did you see Jake's face during that Phoenix match? Yeah. Matthew Wachowski says, I just love this so much. It's going to lead to multiple things. I don't know what exactly to say, but it was so amazing. It felt like a big deal. And that's what we like to see in wrestling. Things that feel like a big deal. Anthony E says, oh, Anthony, thank you so much for sending in a super chat. Anthony E says, this is what the Young Bucks needed to move up to that next level. Can't wait to see where this goes from here. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I think a lot of people overall in general are excited about it because again, like I said, it really brings that big show feel to it. It feels like a big deal and it feels exciting and you don't know where it's going to lead. So I completely agree with you on that one, Anthony E. Thank you so much for the super chat. And now, so I did say that NXT also had a really fantastic show with New Year's Evil today. I thought that they had a very, there were, I would say, 3 really fantastic matches from both shows tonight. And obviously the one on AEW, it was definitely the Phoenix Omega match. But NXT had 2 of those matches tonight. And so they really did a hell of a job here today. If you haven't seen NXT, definitely check it out. So they opened up the show with Damian Priest versus Karrion Kross. I do have some not so favorable things to say, but first of all, I will say that I enjoyed the match for what it was. However, I do think that Karrion Kross, he has so much star power, and we already know that. I like Karrion Kross. He has so much star power. He looks legit. He looks like a badass. But I just have to say that Damian Priest completely overshadowed him here. I really do think that Damian Priest is the guy. I literally wrote this. This is what my notes say. My notes, verbatim, they say, Priest on a level of his own. He has everything: speed, athleticism, sharpness, personality, and presence. I can't think of anything this guy is missing. And that is honestly how I feel. Even though we got to see Kross win this match, I don't necessarily think that he didn't, in-ring wise, I don't think he delivered as much as I would have hoped. That's the proper way to say it. I really do think that Priest, man, he really carried him here in this match. And Priest just did, I think Priest knocked it out of the park here, guys. I don't know how you guys feel. If you maybe have a different opinion, go ahead and send it in. But this is just what I personally thought on this one here. So any thoughts on this? Who do we have here? All right, we got a comment from Madout, who said Kross needs a better finisher. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think he needs a better finisher? Send in those thoughts. And John Fitzgerald says, Bullet Club won all over the place tonight, even with Finn tonight. Also, I almost thought Adam Cole was going to go throw up the too sweet. Also, imagine. Seriously, though, imagine. Oh. And then Zane Miller says, Kross isn't the wrestler for NXT. Be great for the main roster. Yeah, like I said, dude, the power, the personality, the star power, it's there. But there is just something like, but I do also see that obviously with Damian Priest. Joseph Boza says, I wouldn't be surprised if this is Damian's last match in NXT. There were reports from Fightful Select he was supposed to graduate and join SmackDown last week, but didn't happen. Dude, Damian Priest, he would be one of those guys that I would love to see win the Royal Rumble. Like, he is one of them that I'm like, God, if only, let's do it. Labor Day says, couldn't agree more about Priest. The only complaint I have is he somehow doesn't fit NXT's vibe. In what way? Like his personality or his in-ring style? I think he fits NXT's vibe. I just don't think he has got it. Like, he's gotten to the mountaintop, but he's never fully had an opportunity to embrace it wholeheartedly. If that makes any sense at all. Any sense at all. Brandon Charles Powell says, I wonder if Priest and Ripley are getting called up, maybe surprise entries in the Royal Rumble. And it's funny because those are actually my picks. Like, if I were booking this and I was the decision maker, I would have Priest and Rhea Ripley win the Royal Rumble in their each respective Rumble. So you actually picked the people that I would ideally like to see winning there. Nicholas Jacket says, Priest has the making of a Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. If he's brought up right, he can be that guy on the main roster and the level of Austin and The Rock. Dude, like I said, he has the presence, has the energy. He has that thing that connects to people. So quick story here. My brothers, they don't watch wrestling, okay? But they came over, I forgot what show it was, but it was a takeover show. And they were watching the show, right? And I swear, the only person that they popped for was Damian Priest. Oh, it was Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano. That was the match. And they liked Johnny Gargano, but it was Damian Priest who really got over with them. And these are kids, young kids that don't watch wrestling. So it always really is interesting to see who they actually like, especially for someone that doesn't watch it. It was interesting to see that they instantly connected with Priest. And to me, that's a good sign, especially if you want to, convert the children into coming and watching your product. So yeah. And we have a comment from the MW Network that says, Damian Priest is the future of WWE in general. If they don't F it up, Priest and Keith Lee can elevate a new serious era of WWE. Yeah, they really could. I really could. Oh, someone says, didn't you tell this Priest story a couple of weeks ago? I probably did. Oh, man, I need a new story, guys. Darn to know. Darn, I'm running out of stories, man. It's COVID era. I don't see people anymore. I'm out of stories here. Dang. All right, I'm not telling that story anymore. It's canceled. You guys heard it. I'm out. Brandon Charles Powell says, yes, Priest's title run as North American champion was cut rather short. It was. And I feel that kind of stopped his momentum. It did. Fact checking there, you. Seriously. All right, guys, let's move on. So BTW, they did announce that they are having the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic first round next week, and they are also doing a women's version. If you have any thoughts on that, go ahead and send it in. I'm excited to see what they're doing. I'm excited that they're, putting such a big emphasis on the women. And NXT, if anybody is doing the women right and is doing the women justice, it's definitely NXT. So the other match I want to talk about is Gran Metalik versus Santos Escobar. So I had high hopes for this. Maybe not high hopes for this match, but I think I was expecting to enjoy this match a little bit more than I actually did, mainly because I know what these two guys can do. But I did think that this match could have been a lot better. I don't necessarily think they got the full potential to really, I don't really think they really let them go to their full potential. Like, there was a max there. They really did a WWE style lucha match and with a few exciting spots here and there. But overall, it was not really a match that I feel could have gotten over as much as, it could have. So to be honest, this one kind of felt a little weak for me. Santos Escobar won, but I did think that it could have been a lot better. And I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments here from what you guys have to say. So Armand Maussen says, the winner of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Classic should get a title shot at the women's tag titles. Dude, those women tag titles, man, they need some work. They need some work. Jake Larson says, whoever wins the women should get a tag title shot to get the tag titles to NXT where they should shine. Yes, I agree. Maddout says that women's Dusty tournament better end in a women's tag team title match with them going over. Can you say Raquel and Kai? Yes, please. I love how all the comments are saying the exact same thing. So I think we're on the same page here. Vijay Mohan says, hope they bring in women from the main roster for the tournament. Riot Squad will be great in it. Yeah, they would. They seriously would. Alrighty. Let's move on. We did get to see a squash match between, I think it was Xia Li and Katrina. You guys might want to fact check. I don't think that was her name. Oof. It was a quick squash match. That's all you need to know. Moving on. Match number 4, which was honestly match of the freaking, well, actually, wait, hold on. Oof, I haven't decided which match I like the most. Okay. It was you know what? Okay. For sakes of sakes, I'm going to say this was my match of the night. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel. I couldn't decide, guys. For a second there, I was thinking about what I was about to say. But I have to say that Rhea Ripley, Raquel was match of the night in the last woman standing match because I felt so pumped and so excited during this match and after this match. They brought, and we've seen this before from them, they brought this level of aggression. They've always had that aggression, okay? But I think on top of that, for today, it was matched with intensity and creativity. We saw them do so much in this match. It made me really excited about the future of women's wrestling. And I do really think that they are definitely gonna, think women's wrestling has gotten to a certain level where we have that respect, right? They've garnered that respect from people that maybe necessarily didn't feel as strongly for it. Well, now that we're there, I feel that Rhea and Raquel are definitely bringing it to that next level. It's this match. I loved it. I thought they did so much in this. It was just so good. I mean, some of the spots that I thought were fun was when Rhea handcuffed Raquel to the chain link fence with the handcuffs. And then afterwards, Raquel just broke herself free of that. I thought that looked really cool, very impressive. It kind of made her look like a monster. Like, if I saw that, I'd be terrified of her. And there was a spot too where Rhea Ripley got dropped onto the commentary table, but the way that she landed was the edge of the commentary table got her exactly in her lower back. So it looked really painful, but it looked painful, but it also made for a cool spot. And I do think that their feud and what they have been doing has elevated both of them as competitors. Like this isn't a situation where just one person is getting over. They are genuinely both getting themselves over, and we have already had a certain respect for Rhea Ripley, and I now feel that Raquel, with how they've been booking her and how strong she has been looking with Rhea Ripley, she has officially gotten herself on the map where I think people can definitely say, man, I want to see Raquel versus Io Shirai. Like I want to see Raquel versus so-and-so, Raquel versus that person. Like we are definitely at that point with Raquel. Like she has proven herself time and time again. Another cool spot was when we had Dakota Kai come out, but Rhea Ripley put her inside a locker. And Dakota Kai, like she's a tiny girl, right? And she just like stuffs her entire body inside that locker. And then I think she put like some sort of chest or something. She put something in front of it to block her from coming out. I popped so hard for that spot. I thought it was really, really cool. In the end, we did see Raquel put Rhea through the stage, and that's how she essentially won. It was a really good win for her and just an overall really good feel match there. So what do you guys all have to say about this? Let's see. Tano says match of the night or match of the night on NXT, i.e. better than Kenny or Rey. They were so different. You know what? See, I think that the reason why I'm picking Rhea Ripley and Raquel as match of the night is because I already knew that Kenny Omega Phoenix was going to go the way that it did. In the sense of the match that it was, that's what I was expecting from them. And I loved it. And that's what I was expecting from them. But I think that in terms of where my expectations were with Raquel and Rhea Ripley, I think they exceeded those expectations and they just really blew me away. So that is why I'm picking the match of the night overall for me. I really do think that how I felt after this match, and that's saying a lot because I really damn love that Kenny match with Phoenix. I really did. But no, I'm sticking with it, guys. I made a decision here, live on the air. I had to really think about that, but I really have to stick with it. Jake Larson says Rhea Ripley is a star. Kind of sad they wasted almost a year of her. She has a mania behind. Yeah, I really do think so, but I don't think that they've necessarily forgotten about her. I think there's been so many situations where someone was at the precipice of, becoming this big star, and then you saw it like fall through. Obviously, based on what we saw tonight, she's definitely getting that stamina back and, getting that momentum back. Wrestling Fandom says Rhea locked Dakota in a locker box. Yeah, in a locker box. Zane Miller says, Raquel Gonzalez is such a big star in short time. She definitely is your next champion. I liked it a tad better than their last match. Both awesome. I loved it so much more than their last match. And I think I was expecting what we saw in their last match. I was expecting kind of the version of the same thing. And that's what I'm saying in the sense that they were very creative with this match. And so that's why it kind of blew me out of the water a lot more. And anything else here? Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. So, guys, I hate to say it every week. I say it every week, but I'm not a fan of the way. I'm not a fan of the way. And I was making so many little jokes on my notes here. I put the way has go away heat with me. The way, no way. I'm just not feeling this, guys. I'm not here for it. I'm out on this one. I don't know when I'll be in, but I'm out for now, guys. This did lead to a mixed tag match. Was fine, but I'm not feeling this one, guys. If you're feeling it, by all means, congrats. I just don't get it on this one. But I did like a moment in this match where Shotzi Blackheart did do this really awesome dive. It was a dive. It was such a simple dive, but it looked pretty freaking cool. So I do want to go ahead and point that out there. Nicholas Jacket says, Razor Gem says I'm skipping his cat. Actually, Razor Gem, I haven't seen your questions on here. I'm sorry. I was not skipping you. I personally haven't seen them. But I saw this one. Nicholas Jacket says, it's rare you get a great match from two wrestlers who are taller and bigger, but Rhea and Raquel brought with great bumps with intensity that never faded. Dude, they kept that momentum and that energy alive. Jake Larson says, it's Austin Theory's fault. Get him out. Crifter C says, no way, Jose. D-Train Riot Maker says, show them the way out. See, you can make so many jokes here. God. But yeah, I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan, so I'm not going to spend too much time there. But they did announce that Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory will be in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. So they did announce that. And lastly, let's talk about the main event. Kyle O'Reilly versus Finn Balor, which we did see Finn Balor winning. This was the match that I knew that they were going to have. I already knew this match was going to be good. And I think that's the overall theme that we got for all the big matches. We already knew that they were going to be good. So I'll start off by saying that this match here, my favorite parts of it were I liked the pace and the tempo that they went with this. So they really, I didn't know what they were going to do next. Like there was moments where they were doing, a lot of mat work. I like the fact that Finn was getting Kyle O'Reilly in lots of different submissions, but Kyle O'Reilly was finding different ways to get out of them, whether it was, biting the ropes or just, finding different ways to get out of them. I thought that was really cool. And I just kind of didn't know what they were going to do next. And I liked that. I liked the speed, especially Finn. I just love the way that he moves in the ring and he just knows what he's doing, and everything that he does, he makes it different. Even if it's something simple, he adds a little extra something to make it different, to make it that much more, not complicated, but much more interesting, I think. So I did think that Finn Balor looked great in this match. And especially even at the end afterwards, when Finn Balor was just really standing there and he had this blood on him, it was a really good visual. And then also Kyle O'Reilly just kind of, sitting there looking so disappointed, looking so far off, like he's really upset. I liked all of this, guys. I thought it was a good match. It wasn't takeover level or anything like that, but it was a decent match. But I don't think that it was match of the night for NXT, because I do think that Cal and Rhea Ripley definitely took it better, were a better match. And I'm laughing because we have a super chat from Brandon Charles Powell says, Denise, you're going the wrong way. You know what? I'm going the wrong way. I'm not a fan of the way. I'm going the other way. All right. I'm going the other way. Brandon, thank you so much for sending in the super chat. I truly, truly appreciate it. Honestly. And Joseph Boza says, I wonder / suspect that Candice and Indy will be the first women's Dusty Classic that I suspect will be for a shot against the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, whoever they are. Yeah, like I said, I'm really just not a fan of it. They got to do a little bit extra something for me to get interested on there. And any other comments on that? All right, we have a comment from I Loved E5 who says, Balor is a perfect example of how the main roster ruined him, so he went back to where he's really appreciated, NXT. D-Train Riot Maker says, it's funny, they switched injuries basically. O'Reilly broke his jaw now probably, and Balor possibly injured, very physical match. Zane Miller says, that's such a great point, Denise. I knew Kyle versus Finn was going to be good, and this is what we got, just it. Joseph Boza, for sure, Rhea Raquel match of the night. They showed that 6-foot-tall women could have a hard-hitting match and be good. And Razor Gem says, Denise, what are your thoughts on Stardom or TJPW? I feel like they are so underrated shows. I feel like I'll probably get back to you on that one, because I feel like I have to formulate a better opinion on that as well. And Chris Cage 2X says, Johnny Gargano is going to be responsible for Do You Know the Way memes coming back. Do you know the way memes coming? Oh my God, guys. I can't with all of these the way jokes. I really, really cannot. Alrighty, guys. There you go. That was NXT. That was AEW. New Year's Evil. New Year's Smash. I mean, overall, just really good shows. Wrestling shows for sure. And I just want to thank you guys all so much for coming back again each and every single week to catch Speak Now Pro Wrestling with myself, BTW. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to F4W Online. We are getting closer and closer to that 100K point, so make sure that you are subscribed. Also, even if you're watching the audio version of this or the replay version of this, it doesn't matter. Make your way over to F4W Online, the YouTube channel, and get yourself subscribed. Also, if you haven't already, please check me out on Twitter or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. My handle is right there on the screen where you guys can go ahead and follow me. And I'm very, very active. In fact, I'm like annoyingly active on Twitter. So I do, you know what? I think I've developed a Twitter obsession. So I'm going to kind of calm that down a little bit. But seriously, though, I am active. So come over there and check me out. All right, guys, that's it for me here today. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to give this video a like, and I will see you guys back here next week. Bye, everyone. Take care.